Go. Step. All right. And step. And step. Hey, hey. Let's go. And step. Step. And step. 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 Hey. Mix it up. Go. Hey. Oh. Hey. Hey. Step. What? Hey. Hey. Hey.
All people to the person, power, and purpose of Jesus. But we are connecting all kids. Isn't that creative? Connecting all kids to the person, power, and purpose of Jesus. Notice how those all start with P? It's kind of nice, huh? It's kind of catchy, right? But I just love because it's all kids. It's not just like our people, you know? We're inclusive. We want everybody to know who Jesus is. We want to know that he is powerful and he is willing and able to just bring about his will in my life, in your life, in all our lives. And he has a purpose for each one of us. And I just love that. So tonight's agenda, let's just take a look at what we're doing tonight.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the values that we have here as a church. We in Bridge Kids are part of the larger church of Bridge Church. We're not a separate church, we're a part of Bridge Church, and we want to be moving in the same direction that Bridge Church as a whole is moving, and so we value the things that Bridge Church values, and a lot of the things we do here in Bridge Kids, we mimic from what they do in the auditorium. We want our kids to get that experience too. So we're going to talk about these values. I know you have some blanks on your paper. So these are the values that we hold as a church: multiplication, servant leadership, worship, generosity, and innovation. So I'm just going to briefly talk about each one of those. Multiplication is important, right? Because we have the Great Commission to go and disciple all nations, right? Tell all people about Jesus. So multiplication is multiplying disciples, is bringing in new kids. So we really want to focus more on doing that as a kids ministry, on encouraging kids to bring their friends, on, if we have kids, if you have kids, inviting those, the friends that you have, filling up your car to come to church, inviting the kids on your kids' soccer team. We really want to focus on multiplying our church, multiplying the kids who come here so that they can meet the person of Jesus. We also want to be about multiplying ourselves, right? We always need more leaders. And as leaders, we want to be pouring into other people. So our challenge for each of you today is to multiply yourself by 1 by next summer, right? So we have, say, 47 people in here. Next summer, we're going to have over 100 people sitting in here. If you just each bring one person onto the Bridge Kids team. So be praying and asking God as you're sitting in church on Sunday, as you're talking to people in the lobby, who here might be a part of the Bridge Kids team, When you talk to your friends about kids ministry, who asks more questions? Who seems excited about it? Who seems like they might be interested? And just follow up with those people and invite them to come in and observe what we do. And we want to really multiply our team so that we can we can grow. Okay, servant leadership. You guys are servant leaders. You are serving our church in a huge way, and you guys are all leaders in the church, and that's something that we so value. I just wanted to point out that we are leaders in the kingdom, not just on Sunday mornings, but all the time. So we carry that responsibility of being like Jesus wherever we go. So that means that, when you're wearing your leader's shirt, people know that you're a leader, that they can ask you questions, that you're someone they can come to. Someone asks you a question you don't know, you say, let me find out for you, right? Not, I don't know. So we want to really just carry that, and we want to carry it throughout the week as well. That means that what we put on social media matters, right? That we are using our influence for Jesus all the time, not just on Sunday mornings. That we are careful with what we put out there, that other parents, that other kids might see. That the way that we treat our families, the way that we treat our waiter at Outback matters. You don't know if there's a family at Bridge Church sitting next to you. You never know who's watching. So just remember that you are a leader and that you carry that throughout the week. And I know that you guys are doing that so well. And we just all, want to remember that we represent Jesus and we represent Bridge Church wherever we go. Worship is one of our key values, and we, include worship in everything we do here in Bridge Kids. We always worship through music in our elementary and our preschool rooms, and we want our kids to experience that chance of really connecting with Jesus through worship. And generosity is something that we're really going to be working on as Bridge Kids, promoting, our kids to be bringing their offering. Our goal in Bridge Kids, right, isn't that our kids bring a lot of money. Our kids don't have a lot of money. Our goal is to produce generous adults, right? So we want them to catch the vision now of why it's important to give to God and why it's important to set aside that money that is God's and to recognize that it's all God's. So we're going to be promoting that more, talking about that more, teaching on that more in the year to come. And innovation. So we want to always be creative, always be thinking of new ways to engage these kids, right? The world is changing faster than ever, and they're going faster than we are. So we got to keep up, and so we always want to be looking for new ways to engage the kids. If you are, as parents, see new things, see ideas that your kids are into, see things that schools are doing that look really awesome, please bring them to us. Like, we're always open to new ideas and new ways of doing things. Teenagers especially in here, you guys are some of the best innovators. You have some of the best, newest ideas, so we would love to hear your ideas of what is fun to kids, of what is engaging to kids, of the music kids are liking right now. So just be always, bringing that to us and looking for that. And, we as a team will be working to always be innovative and always be engaging our kids with the gospel of Jesus. Where are we going next here? Safety. Okay, we're moving to safety. I didn't make the slides. Do we have another one?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
That's all we need.
It's just me. Okay. Check in and check out. So just briefly, we want to make sure that we're all on the same page. I know some of you are specifically check-in team, but we want everyone to know the procedure for this. So the red stickers are for new kids only. So, this is new families who are visiting the church. They should have the child should have a red sticker on, and the parent has the other part of that. And that lets the leaders in the rooms know, hey, that's a new kid, right? They have a red tag on. So as a leader in the room, if you see a kid with a red tag, you want to make sure to make a special effort to engage with that kid, to find out that kid's name, to talk to that kid, to make sure that kid feels welcome and loved when they are in our church. So the red tags are for all of us to know this is someone new and someone that we really want to focus on. And so if, sometimes we have families who just use the red tags because the computer's busy or there's a line or something, we really want to try and discourage that and keep those for new families only. Making sure parents walk kids to the room. So we discourage parents from just checking their kids in at the computer and waving goodbye as they walk down the hall, because there's a long hallway in between the computer and this room, and they might not make it. And their parent thinks they did, and we don't know they were supposed to be coming here.
There's a door out to the
and
side.
there's a door.
Just walk out the door.
So if you are in the hallway, if you're in check-in, if you're in preschool and you notice that, you just want to remind the parents, like, please walk with your child. And when you're talking to a parent, always make sure that you say, this is for your child's safety, right? A parent's never going to be upset if you're saying, hey, just for the safety of your child, make sure you walk with them to the room, right? So we want to make sure that we are all doing that. Okay, the room list. So everybody, we have a sign-in list in each room. All kids need to sign in as they come in the door. This is really important, especially in the event of an emergency. If we were to have, say, a fire or a reason to have to exit the building, you're going to want to take that list with you as you take your group outside, because then when you get outside, you can go through your list and make sure you have everyone with you. So this is the main reason that we keep these running room lists and that we want them to be accurate. So in preschool, where we have kids rotating, the room list needs to go with the kids. So the room list should always stay with the right kids so that you have a list in front of you of the kids in your room at that time. And the sticker sheet. We keep the sticker sheet as kids are getting checked out. So as kids are checked out, you want to make sure that the parent has a tag that matches the child's sticker. And that's really important. I know right now, most of the time we recognize the parents and we know if they go with the kid or not, but we're really looking for when we're a church of 2,000 and you have no idea if they are the right parent with the right kid. So we want these policies in place now so that as we grow, we're prepared to be safe. So you want to make sure that the parent's tag matches the child's, and you want to take the child's tag off of their shirt. Because if they have a tag on their shirt, they are still in our responsibility. So we don't want them walking out of this room still wearing their tag. And then we have, checkout sheets. So you're going to want to put the parent's tag and the child's tag both on that sheet. that is just to cover us if at some point. Yeah. Oh, the sticker sheet is kept for 1 day. If you need to fill out your blank, sorry. We keep it for 1 day in case somebody comes and says my child left with the wrong person. You know, we have a record that, well, whoever checked your child out had the right sticker. You know, so we want to make sure that we have that and that we know that happened.
What happens if they have more than one child in more than one room and there aren't enough stickers to go around? Because
So they get 2 stickers. The parents get 2 stickers.
You talk
What if
about
they have 3 kids?
the parent code stickers?
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. So if they have more than 2 kids, then they don't have enough stickers. It's okay if you see their number, just write down what it is, and we'll take that.
Okay, I'm gonna turn it back over to Pastor Chris.
Okay, we have to cover some things that are things that we don't like to think about. You know, whenever we minister to these kids on Sunday morning or on other days, we do it in faith. You know, like we have faith that God's word is taking root in their hearts, and we have faith that the words that we're using are somehow influencing them for the kingdom and for their lives to come, right? But we have to also be prepared. You know, we have to be prepared for when dark times come, when accidents happens and things that we can't prevent happen. So you know, these are scary things, and I'm going to take you through some of our emergency procedures, and I just want you to know that I'm not doing this to scare anybody or you know, to tell you that like something scary is about to happen, but we just have to take a few minutes and just let our minds go somewhere that is not so nice, but is very important for the safety of the children. All right, so just give me a few minutes on this. All right, the first thing is we have an online program for child abuse prevention, specifically for like sexual abuse prevention. And so we're going to ask that over the next few months. Well, this week you'll receive an email, and it will be from mobilizemyministry.com. And that email will be labeled child safety training in the subject, and you'll be asked to just be guided through like several videos that explain like how to spot signs of child abuse and how to look for them, and then if you see some, what to do about it, and then at the end you get to take a quiz and you get to pass. So that's awesome. So yeah, so do that by November 1st. Is that fair? It's a couple of months. It doesn't take very long. We had our beta tester, Terry Brown. I don't know if you know Terry Brown. Greenbrier. Go Greenbrier. She did it, and she said it didn't take long at all, and it was not inconvenient. So so thanks to her. Okay, next I want to talk about a couple emergency procedures. And this is located, you're going to have to turn the page. How many pages do you have to turn here? Let's see here. Okay, it's on the next page. So, we have an emergency action plan 2017. So, there are several emergencies that I thought of that might happen one day. So, many of them involve evacuation. So, the evacuation procedure. You all see this page here? There's just a table of contents at the top, but it's not long enough to have a table of contents. I just wanted to give it some respect, you know, so I gave it a table of contents. Respect the document, right? Okay, so the first thing, evacuation procedure. So this is the most important one we're going to talk about tonight. If an evacuation is ordered during the service, we got kids, right? So like I said, you got that sheet that has all the kids' names on it. You have to make sure that sheet is with the kids. You know, that's especially important, like Julie said, like in preschool where they're moving from room to room. You got to make sure that wherever the kids are, the list of those kids are with them, you know? So if you got a helper, like a teenage helper that goes with the kids as they rotate from room to room, that helper should bring the list. Because when you evacuate the building, this room goes out that door, and the next preschool room, the so-called K5 room, they go out that door. But then all the other rooms go out the side door, and they all meet up out by the dumpster. All right? So when you get out there, like, just imagine, like, you're absolutely panicked, right? I got I got 16 kids from a preschool classroom, because I was here second service, right? Who are they? Do I have them all? Let me count. Wait, was that my kid? I don't know. Was that kid in my room? I thought he rotated. Did somebody get dropped off halfway through the service and I didn't know about it? You know what I'm talking about? Like, and then you got to decide, like, okay, I'm not sure if that kid is there. There's smoke going up from the roof of the building. What do I do? So if you're me, you're like, okay, I gotta run and find Pastor Scott and get him to go back into the burning building and see if little Billy is in there, right? So it's just confusing, and you're welcome, Pastor Scott. So that's the reason that you need to make sure that you have an accurate account of who's in the room all the time, and bring it with you when you evacuate. Okay, make sense? All right, so the procedures here, we're not going to go through every single item here, but we're just going to hit some key points. So the second bullet point there under evacuation procedure says, each room leader will need to get their roster, walkie-talkie, emergency bag, and take it with them. Now, emergency bags have not been made yet. We'll have an emergency bag, and it will contain things like a classroom sign, activities, and a small first aid kit, and accident report forms. So it's just going to be one bag that's just behind the door of the classroom. You can just grab it, go with your kids, and bring it out there, because there's a primary evacuation rally point that's out by the dumpster here. But then there are some circumstances where that might not be the safest place, and so there's a secondary evacuation point that's out in the field where we have the Easter egg hunt. That big field out there. So that point is you just go over the bridge, and there you are. That's it. Make sense? Okay. All right. So line up the children. Okay, this is a really important thing. The fourth bullet point says, if a parent comes to pick up a child, do not let them take the child. You know why? Because then your list is off, and you're confused, and you're panicked, and like your blood pressure's through the roof, and there's smoke, and you know what I mean? So don't let them take their child. Say, come on, we're going out. Just bring them with you. You can take as many parents as you want. They should get out of the building too. They'll just come with you, all right? And that's totally fine. And then once you get out there, once you verify that you have everybody and that you haven't left somebody like locked in the bathroom, then the parent can take their child, but if they have the correct credentials to claim their child, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So you follow the evacuation route. The nursery has specific, like in the nursery, not everyone can walk. So what do? You pile the kids in the crib. You roll that crib right out the door, right? Roll it out. Yep. Let the rest burn. Get the kids out. Right? Okay. So, yeah, we haven't talked about walkie-talkies yet. We don't use them much, but if you need a walkie-talkie, there's one in each room now, and you don't have to keep the volume up even, but there are people listening. So we always turn the walkie-talkies to channel 1. There's only 2 dials on the top. One turns it on, and the other changes the channel. That's it. So if you want to talk, you just hold the button on the side while you talk, and then you let go. Just like the walkie-talkie you might have had when you were 9 years old. They're awesome. But the people who are listening are, the check-in area has a walkie-talkie with the volume up. I usually have one with the volume up. Unless I happen to be in the service, then I'll turn it down and make sure that somebody else is listening. Oftentimes it's Liz Field, who's right there. Raise your hand, Liz. Not everybody knows you. And also the parking team uses channel 1. So Vic Valencia and his crew, for example, if a kid bolts out the door, it's never happened, but if, just let your mind go there for a minute. If a kid bolts out the door and you can't run after him for whatever reason, walkie-talkie. Call Vic. Vic is on it, and he's got a good crew, and they're there for whatever you need. Just call them. What's that?
The nursery babies trying to get out.
I know. You can't keep track of. I know. Yeah. Okay. So down here it says number 1 and 2 under one of those bullet points. I told you about the primary and secondary meeting spots. Any questions about those? So when you evacuate the building, everybody has to meet up, so we make sure everybody knows where everybody is. All right. Okay. So turning the page. I'm checking the time. The fire plan. Okay, so the fire plan, if the fire alarm sounds, you know what the fire alarm sounds like? I don't. It's probably loud. It's loud, right, Pastor Scott? Slab. Okay. So if there's a fire, what do you do? Evacuate the building. Exactly right. With the kids. With the kids. Take the kids with you. Bring the kids. That's right. Bring the parents of the kids. Same thing. Okay. Now, next one down says bomb threat plan. I know. If there's a bomb threat, we will always evacuate to the secondary meeting spot. Remember where that is? Egg hunt field. Go over the bridge. There you are. Yep, that's it. Okay. And you see why, right? It's farther away. Okay, good. Lockdown plan. So lockdowns are necessary because there could be a threat that's either inside or outside the building, right? So what you do, the first bullet point says, secure and lock all hallway doors from the inside. Now they should all be locked anyway, because like once you get the majority of your kids in the room, like it's 5 minutes past service starts, make sure your doors are closed and locked. I know that's impossible in this particular room, but this is the only one that doesn't have doors that lock, because we got those double doors that have to stay open because it's a fire exit. Can't lock those. But everybody, like all the preschool rooms, the little lock is on the side of the door when you open it, right? You might not have known that, but that's how you lock or unlock those doors once you're inside. Okay, then you turn off the lights, and then you cover the doors and windows with a foam board piece, which we don't have yet. And then each small group leader will need to get their roster, and then you make sure you have all your kids. Okay, that's all for lockdown. Any questions so far? Okay, next, the next page it says severe weather plan. There can be tornado warnings, heavy winds, rain. I think most of that is probably self-explanatory, because if you're going to leave this classroom, you still have to bring the same stuff as for the evacuation plan. You got to have your roster of kids, you got to have a walkie-talkie, and you got that bag, that hypothetical bag that we'll be making for everybody. Bring that with you, okay? And then the shelter areas. You see those bullet points under shelter areas there? Infants remain in the nursery. Children in the twos room can remain there when we reopen the twos room starting in September. The twos room, you might have noticed, is closed for summer. We'll reopen it. And elementary and 3 through 5 preschoolers will walk down the hallway, line up against the wall. Now, there's also, you probably practiced this when you were in school too. If there's a tornado, there's a danger of like flying glass and things like that. That's why this picture of this poor guy is there, right? So just so you know, you don't have to describe it to a kid. You can just demonstrate it. There you go. And then under that kid, it says, once the all clear has been given by a staff member, children will be released in a regular way. And then again, in the highlighted section, children may not be released without security stickers. So don't, just because it's an emergency, don't let just anybody take the kid, you know? Because if you think of it like, if you think like me, you're like, okay, what if somebody has a restraining order against them, but they want to get their kid and get him away? What's the best way? Make an emergency, cause a distraction, then get in there and pretend that you need them right away, and it's perfect. You know, it's a perfect way for something really bad to happen. And then once the kid leaves your sight, gone. Kid is gone, right? And it's not just the fact that that's terrible for the kid and for the family and for everyone involved, but then there's the fact that all those values that we're here for, and that mission that we're on for all kids to be connected to the power and the person and the purpose. Thank you. Purpose of Jesus. Like all that is out the window. Like we work so hard to make that kind of stuff happen for our kids and for the families that they are connected to. But like once something bad like that happens, if you made one step forward, you just go 100 steps back, and it just destroys the prophetic voice of this church and the influence that it could have on, because what parent is going to come back after something like that happens and word gets around? I wouldn't, So it's absolutely mission critical. Any questions? Andrew.
Tornado, where do we take the kids for the tornado? It says closest wall, but that would be outside of the classrooms, correct?
The wall right inside the hallway there.
Okay.
If you're in one of the 2 preschool classrooms that has windows,
Yeah.
the 2-year-old room has no windows, so they stay. Other questions? Good. Okay, we're gonna break into groups. The dress code. Do you guys know we have a dress code? You might not know that. That's okay. So let's say you're scheduled to serve with Bridge Kids on Sunday, right? What are you wearing? Jeans are fine. Doesn't have to be jeans. You can, but yeah, wear the Bridge shirt. And if you need a Bridge shirt, we have some Bridge shirts. We're actually we have to make a new order. So if we don't have your size, just let me know. We're gonna put in the next order next week. So, why do we do that? Because it just shows that you belong there. So I mean, some of you have awesome other clothes that you can wear, and that's cool, But then then if a parent comes to the door and somebody is standing there like in a beautiful dress, they're like, "Are you the teacher?" I guess so. I don't know. And somebody else might be in there too wearing something else. So how do you know which is the teacher? And then you need the name tag, because it's too hard to remember names, And the name tag just shows that you're official, Because otherwise anybody could just walk into the classroom and pretend they're the teacher, And it could be, and that's not good, Because we just want to close all the opportunities for bad stuff, for unsafe stuff. So that's the reason for that. It's not because our shirts are the coolest, even though they are. That's not the reason. So wear your shirt, and if you need a shirt, please let me or Julie know that you need a shirt and what size you need. I know they run small, and they shrink.
I just want to say, you can wear a cardigan or a flannel or a vest. You can make it cool, all right? You can make it
You can dress it up. You can dress up the
Own
t-shirt.
it.
Okay, times. So let's say you're scheduled for second service. What time should you come?
9:30.
15 minutes early. So second service starts at 9:45, so we need you at 9:30. You might think oh, well, there's another teacher there in the first service. And you're right, technically. But the trouble is, when you show up late, what it means is that you're depending on the grace of that teacher that's already there, And so that teacher can't leave, especially since some of the kids have to stay for another service, or at least the first part of another service, because sometimes our worship team members have a kid that needs they have to stay through praise and worship for the next service, and then they're going to come and pick them up. Cadence is a perfect example, Kat and Josh Hall's daughter Cadence, who's 3? So 3.5, yeah. So if you have her for second service, you're probably going to have her for the first half hour of third service as well, because they're going to. She has to leave from the stage, and then she's going to come pick up her kids. So when she stays through, you just have to make sure that you can't leave her alone, So if you're late, then the other teacher has to stay and wait for you, and then give you the instructions about that child, So it's very important that you show up 15 minutes early, for real, 15 minutes early. Show up if it's second service, it's 9:30. It's not well, I'll try 9:30. And I know there's drawbridges, and I know there's traffic, and I know there's other stuff. Yes, Danica.
For those who are in service, they're going to volunteer second service, but they're going, or they're in first service and they go into second service. You know what I'm saying?
I think so.
Yeah, so what about them? So they just walk out of service, they leave, they have to leave service. So if I'm serving third service, but I went to second service, and it lets out right at the time they're supposed to be in there. Are you telling them to leave out of that service 15 minutes early?
Oh, I think I see what you're saying. You don't have to leave early unless Pastor Archie is super late. Yeah. I think because the people who are serving for second service in that particular scenario are going to stay until the service is over.
Correct.
And they got the service on the TV, so they'll know. So if it's say for example it's you're serving second service, and then you get up to 11 o'clock, and the next service starts at 11:15. You know it's going to be done soon, but you're not just going to walk out.
Yeah.
But if you're in the service waiting to serve during the third service, you come right away. You know, that's what I would say. Do you agree, Tamika? I know
Oh,
you
yeah,
love
yeah.
them. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Julie.
I just want to say, for second service, this is of utmost importance because we do not have the rooms open during first service generally. So what it looks like if you don't show up till 9:45 is parents in the hallway waiting to drop their kids off, and we are like, we don't know where the leader is. We can't open the room yet. So it's very important for second service that you're here at 9:30 because it really communicates to the parents that we are here for them, that we are open, that we are ready for their kids, that we are responsible, that we're ready to go. So it's really important. Between second and third, there is a teacher there in the meantime, but for second service, being here at 9:30, so the rooms are open and the rooms are ready to go is very important.
It's absolutely true. I agree with that. It's like when there's confusion, it's devastating to a ministry. Like when parents are like, is there a teacher here? Is there a teacher going to show up here? Like, let's ask Pastor Chris. Pastor Chris doesn't sound like he knows. It looks like he's thinking, but I don't think he actually knows. That's devastating, you know? Because like a lot of times, like whether or not the kids program is good determines if the family's going to stay at the church, you know? And sometimes it might just take one bad experience on a Sunday morning where there's confusion or where there's misinformation, and that family, I mean, you know what it is to live in America in 2017. Like, I mean, there's a lot of churches around, you know, and I'm not saying you're going to like mess with somebody's eternal destiny that way, hopefully, but I mean, you can really break down the momentum of a church just by simple little things like that's not striving for excellence. So like showing up 15 minutes early to a service might seem like a little thing, and I get that because like, you know, some jobs are like that, and you know, some things like the timing's not that important, but like it's very, very, very important on Sunday morning in Bridge Kids. Very important. Level 10, showing up on time. Yeah, who was it who said like 80% of life is just showing up? Is it Woody Allen or Woody Guthrie? One of those Woodies. One of those people. Well, like I would say that's true for Bridge Kids. 80% is just showing up on time, which means 15 minutes early. Oh, yes, Angel.
I was just going to say, as far as the sitting in on the service, I know a lot of times what I would do is sit in on first service and sit on the closest to the aisle. And then when Pastor Archie says for everyone to stand or, you know, to bow their heads or whatever, then I would get up quietly and go out so that I'm ahead of the crowd leaving, so that I was in the classroom ahead of time. And so that's what I try to do when I'm sitting in on a service. I don't know if that always works in that situation, but most of the time it does.
That's good.
It gets you out early.
That's a good thing. Yeah, not just first service, but that works in other situations too. That's perfect. Yeah, good. Okay, other comments about that? Any questions about that? All right, that's great. All right, next thing. There's a blank here on your paper. There are no blank allowed. Anybody want to guess what this is?
Cell phone.
Yes, cell phones. You guys hear me in the back? Oh, just checking. All right. So there are no cell phones allowed, and here's why. The first reason is something that Julie already touched on in the first large group session here. We can't be posting any pictures or video of the kids on social media unless their parents agree that that's okay. We can take, you know, our own pictures like in-house, like when Angelina, you know, videos VBS or something like that. Like we can use that for in-house videos, but we can't like put that out anywhere. Like we can't Snapchat anything, nothing. My sister, who doesn't live in this state, like has a daughter who has a deadbeat dad, far away, and there are legal reasons that we do not want him to see any pictures of her anywhere on social media. And she's not alone in that situation. There are situations out there where parents just do not want their kids posted anywhere where anyone could just, you know, search and find them. So it's a privacy, it's a safety, it's a legal thing. So please, that's one reason. The other reason is that it's just distracting, you know, like when you have your phone out, it just means that you're not focused on the kids, and the kids are the reason. The kids are the only reason. The only reason we are here is because we want kids to be connected to Jesus, right? The purpose, the power, and the person of Jesus, right? That's the only reason. And if Jesus isn't real, we might as well just go somewhere else. Like we might as well get jobs or something. There's better ways to spend our time hanging around here on Sunday morning, Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, cell phones. So the other reason is that we're only here, a service only lasts an hour and a half, maybe a little longer depending on her dad, if he wants to talk a little longer. But it's not a long time, and it's an hour to an hour and a half out of the week. We want to make sure that we make those connections with those kids, that they can somehow see Jesus through something that we say or something that we do or something that speaks to them. We want God to speak to them on Sunday morning, and we want to be there to be conduits of grace. We want to be conduits of what's been given to us and just pour out into them for the short time that we have them. And so that's why there's a rule about no cell phones. And feel free to peer enforce that. If you see a kid or a grown-up that has their cell phone out, unless it's Kim, you have the right to say, hey, let's do that some other time, Or if you don't want to, it's okay. Let me be the bad guy. I don't mind. Tell me. All right. So that's that. Any questions about that? Okay. Calling out. So what I mean by calling out is when you break your back and you're in the hospital on Saturday night, and you can't make it. You try.
That situation might be an exception.
That might
All right, it might be a little bit of an exception. So let's say, let me just say there are extreme circumstances where you were expected on Sunday morning to be in a particular role and you couldn't do it last minute. So what do you do? Well, you got
Something that,
there's pedal power,
Uber.
We don't have to get into the specifics. And we'll talk about how Planning Center, the scheduling program works, the specifics of that in a little bit too. But if you're expected, please, the rule is, wait till I write this up, call 3 people. Call 3 people. Yeah. And there's a phone list. Do y'all have the phone? I emailed out the phone list, but I know the email thing. Okay, so the phone list is attached to your packet at the back. Now, I know that some of the phone numbers need corrections. So, out on the table in what used to be the fruit bowl, there's a copy of this. Please just go by and make a correction on your way out. Just correct your phone number if I have it wrong, or if I spelled your name wrong, or if you want to go by a different name, or if you want to go by if you change, whatever it is. So please make those corrections on the way out. Okay. Any questions about that? It's really hard if you just don't show up. It doesn't happen much. It rarely happens anymore. But it's very, very critical. Because again, if you don't show up and you were expected, you're depending on the good graces of somebody. You're depending on somebody else to sacrifice their time and their effort to fill in for you. And that's not fair. That's not fair. Okay.
And I think it always feels like you're the only one. But there was a Sunday in June that we had 7 people call out between 9 p.m. on Saturday night and 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. 7 people called us to say they couldn't make it the next day. For valid reasons. A child was sick, they were sick. But that happens, and then Chris and I are awake all night, making phone calls and texting people. So that's
we usually roll with stuff all right, but that night, and then there was VBS after that. I'm still shell shocked. My nerves are shot. I'm still recovering from that. Thank you. Yeah.
Is it possible, because I know that not everybody is available to work multiple Sundays or whatever, but for people who can work multiple Sundays, but they're only on the schedule, say 1 Sunday a month or whatever, is it possible to maybe get a list of people who would be willing to be a standby person for an extra Sunday or something, so they would be willing to go, okay, if you need me, call me, I'm available, you know what I'm saying?
That's a great idea, but honestly, I consider everybody a standby. If you don't want to be a standby, you can tell me, but I'm still going to call you. Seriously. Sure. If you want, like out on the phone list, you can put a star next to your name if you want to be the first one that we call. It's a great idea.
When you come in, just talk to Sister Chris will take them. Trust me, none of them more.
Thank you, Marie. Okay, team policy. So last bullet up here, lack of bullet. Anyway, we have a lot of awesome teen helpers that are with us. Feel free to to enforce the rules with them, and feel free to use them. Not use them. Feel free to guide them into serving in the best role that they possibly can. But don't just. What am I saying here? I'm saying don't neglect them. You know, like just because they're in the room, they're not necessarily just hanging out in the room because they don't want to be in the big room. Like there are some kids like that, but like a lot of them are just there and they want to help, but they don't know what to do. And so, don't be afraid to direct them and say like, hey, you know what? This is what we're here for, and maybe you can help with this part. Or see that kid over there? Like this is their first time here. They're all alone. Like, can you just like go and be with them and just connect with them and see what the name of their pet is and whatever they need. Just make sure that they know that we're a church that wants to get to know them and that they are important to us. And the kids are great at that. They're great at that, but they don't know inherently the way like we might. So don't be afraid to direct them. And also, if you see a group of kids that are just like standing around like with their phones, don't stand for that. Like either say something or get me. I'll say something, because we want every environment to be one in which like if a parent just walked through and looked around at what was happening, they would be happy. They'd be like, man, my kids, like they are treated like they're supposed to be treated here. Like they are treated like they're made in the image of God at this church, and I see it in every classroom that I pass through. Because they are. And so we want to make sure that gets reflected in every service, in every room, and that our standards are where they're supposed to be. Planning center. Raise your hand if you're comfortable with planning center. A lot of people, yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, some people are not. That's okay. That's totally okay. So in planning center, you may notice that you get emails, and there's also the app. How many of you have the app for Planning Center? They have a pretty good app. Yeah, it's pretty good. And if you don't, it's okay. You can use the web version, either on your device or on your computer device. Or they all work. There's a learning curve. And so the people who do Planning Center scheduling are myself and Rosetta and Tamika. So Rosetta does all the scheduling for Greenbrier. Tamika does all the scheduling for the nursery. So if and when you respond to the scheduling requests, those responses go to one of the three of us. And so what we're asking is that you accept or decline by Tuesday if you get a scheduling request. Now I realize sometimes we need to fill a spot, and the request comes out after Tuesday. So there are exceptions to that, but in general, we try to plan a month ahead. And so when that Sunday is approaching, the Tuesday before that, can you respond by then? That's super helpful. The invitation for this training night here went out to 76 people, and how many responded, Julie?
Well, 48 accepted.
48 accepted.
Declined.
How many?
15, right?
15 declined. And then the rest didn't respond at all.
Right.
Yeah. So that's okay. But I would love to see everybody respond. And it's okay if it's declined. But we just need to know, because it's really hard to have. I mean, honestly, it's really hard to have a Saturday when it's full of scheduling stuff for the three of us. For Tamika and Rosetta and for myself, like. It's very hard. It's a lot easier to do it on the front end to take care of scheduling conflicts than to do it on on Saturday night, like Julie described, nights like that. Yeah. So we would ask that you respond by Sunday, one way or the other. Okay. Does anyone? Oh, I shouldn't ask that. How's it going with accepting and declining? Right? Responding to scheduling requests. Pretty good. Okay? I don't know of anybody who hasn't responded at all yet. I think you all can do it. So,
And did you know, we get an email notification when you open your email. So we know that you saw the request.
that's a trade secret. Strike that from the record. Kim, turn that off. We're not singling out anybody. Okay. So next item is blockout dates. So blockout dates are just when you can't be scheduled, when you don't want to be scheduled. So you control your blockout dates. I don't. Well, I mean, I can, but you can control them from your device. So if you're going to be out, just feel free to set a blockout date. I sent out a video about how to do that and how to accept or decline requests. I can resend that for anybody who didn't get it. I know it wasn't great, but it was at least functional, right? So if you're having, oh yes.
Me and Adair have this problem with blockout dates where we still have scheduled on the days that we have blocked out. I don't know what's happening with Planning Center, but if we're on vacation, it still says like they still request us to serve on that day.
But it'll come back. It'll come back and say it won't instantly come back and say they're blocked out. But it'll come back maybe a few days later.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. So some of that might be on our end too then, because well, that's too detailed for here. But yeah. So we can handle that.
It doesn't instantly come back.
You guys have some messed up planning center. I get messages from your it says like text undelivered or something.
That's why his text, his
Something's messed up on your end.
email or whatever you put in there comes back.
Yeah, I've been meaning to talk to you about that, but you're always over in Greenbrier. We should get together and talk about that because something's off. Okay. All right. Okay. Any questions about blockout dates? Okay. Viewing the schedule. This means this is especially important when you're depending on a team, like in the nursery. Like if you're in the nursery and you want to know who else is scheduled during that service, how do you find out? It used to be it was just paper on the wall, But then when we went to planning center, you don't know. There's no paper on the wall anymore, and so you have to know. And so, who was I describing? Oh, Marina. I was showing Marina how to do it. If you go to the app in your phone and you click on the service, it'll show you. It'll show you who else is scheduled during that time, and you can skip ahead to any date in the future that has people scheduled on it, and you can find out. So if you're having trouble with that, just let me know. I can walk you through it. Hopefully, yeah, Angel.
One of the things, and I don't know because I haven't needed to look at it recently.
By the way, Angel is an expert at Planning Center. No pressure, Angel.
That's only because of Praise Team, because we had it a long time ago. So, but one of the things that I noticed is that sometimes when you go to look at it on Sunday morning, because a lot of times I like to look back over my lesson and stuff on Sunday morning, the people who are scheduled and the lesson for that day, once that day comes, it disappears off of Planning Center. Now it doesn't for Praise Team, so I don't know why everything's still up for Praise Team, but there's got to be something in the setting that for kids ministry, for some reason, it's wiping it out once that day comes.
She's right about that.
And so if that can be changed, because there's no way, on Sunday morning, if you were to need to find out who is scheduled and who's not scheduled because you needed to call out, you wouldn't be able to see it on that Sunday morning because it is completely wiped out for that day. So I don't know why that's happening for kids ministry, because the other, I think the greeters and all of that still shows up on Planning Center, but kids ministry is wiped out for that day.
I'll find out. Thanks for letting me know. I had no idea. So it's the schedule that disappears and also any attachments that go with it.
Yeah, for that day. Once that day arrives. You can get it the day before, but then once that day arrives, it's completely wiped off of it.
Okay. Good. Make sure and double check what time you're serving. Also, I know that all the scheduling requests say midnight.
Yeah, I was wondering if that coincides. Since it shows up at 12 a.m., I wonder if that is the reason that
It may be. I set that as a default for everything, just because it had to have a time, and the time had to be the same for everybody, no matter what service they served in. Praise Team doesn't have that issue because they all have to show up for first service, and serve all three. So that's an issue. But there's got to be a way around that. So I'll look into that, because you're right. That could be connected to what Angel's describing too. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. So let's see. Oh, last thing on the handout that I gave you guys is that kids who stay for the next service need to be they need to be handed off. What I mean by that is that if they have any issues, like for example allergies or particular situations, or just anything that's specific to that child, that you're gonna hand that child off to the next teacher that's in the room, you have to make sure and communicate that to the next person. I know nursery already talked about this probably, but it's important for any age, like if you're handing a kid off to another teacher because they're gonna stay for an additional service or part of an additional service. Does that make sense? Okay, great.
Alright, I know we're over time, so I'm gonna be quick. Okay, these are just big events coming up this fall. Parent Equip is this Saturday, so if you aren't signed up and you are a parent and you want to come, that'd be awesome. We have some speakers coming in. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have a panel with all of the pastors answering questions about parenting. Dream Again. This is October 1st. This is gonna be a big church-wide event. Well, it's gonna be like the launch of a new series called Dream Again. It'll be at Greenbrier and here in Virginia Beach. So we're doing a lot of outside marketing for that, a lot of build up. We're really trying to use that as a day to invite and bring new people in and really make Bridge Church known, especially in Greenbrier. We're gonna be really pushing that. So we're just gonna be ready for a lot of guests that day, ready for a big day that day. And in Bridge Kids, we'll incorporate a little bit of the series Dreaming Again into what we do. Just the idea that like God has big plans for your life. Like what are the dreams that God has put in you that maybe you haven't followed through on yet? For our kids, it's just asking them what are the dreams you have and how can we, equip you to really go after those God-sized dreams. So we're going to be doing that as a kids ministry. Be the Light, we started last year as a trick-or-treat outreach, you might remember. So we passed out to every family in the church a bag with 100 invitation cards to hand out with your candy on Halloween night. If you hand out candy on Halloween, if you don't hand out candy, you can just hand out the cards. So it's the idea that we want to be the light on Halloween.
It'll work like 3 times and you won't get any more candy.
You might not have a lot of, it's really a good idea to be like the really fun house, like do the, put up lights and music. You can play worship music and you can give out like king-size candy bars, whatever. But be really awesome, the really awesome house that everybody wants to come to so that you can invite every kid in your neighborhood to Bridge Church. It was very successful last year. We had about 40 families come the next week who had been invited through Be the Light. So we are really excited to do that again. And as a church in general, we are going to gear the Sunday after Halloween to be really ready for those new families this year. So it will be our Pumpkin Sunday. So kids who come from the Be the Light invitations are going to get here to a hayride and bounce houses and a petting zoo and a really awesome Sunday. So we really want to, capitalize on those invitations.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Just for those of us who really would like to hand out to the entire neighborhood, can we not have I will take you? You can. I can't take the entire neighborhood.
Yes, we will make the invitations a little different this year. They did say if you need a ride, call me. They will not say.
We might just sit next to you,
Good point. I'll save you a
Walk
seat.
out the whole section.
Yeah. So we're excited for that initiative. Pumpkin Sunday I just covered. Christmas, we will have our kids' Christmas musical. It is going to be the December 15th. Yeah, the second Sunday in December. Is that the date?
Is that a Sunday? I can't remember.
See, I told you to put the dates on there. I don't know.
Too many words. You know how I am about butter.
I know. Anyways,
17th is
the 17th. December 17th is going to be our kids' Christmas musical this year. And it is going to be America's Got Talent Bridge Kids Initiative. It's going to be really exciting. We'll check this. We'll double check later. We're going to have that at Greenbrier and here at Virginia Beach. So that's going to be super fun. Our preschoolers will be involved. Our elementary schoolers will be involved. We'll start auditions and practices for that in October. So that's coming up too. Yeah. That's our calendar. So lots of fun things to be excited about coming up this fall. And we are going to pray. Okay, and then you guys are good to go. So as we always say, yes, question. Close our eyes. bow our heads and quiet our hearts. Father God, I thank you for today. I thank you for all these leaders in this room, Lord. I thank you that they have a heart for you, that they love you, and that they love kids. God, I just pray that you would just bless each one of them, Lord. If there are needs that people in this room have, God, I pray that you would meet those needs, Lord. I pray for healing for those who need healing, God. I pray for financial provision for those who are asking for that, Lord. I pray for jobs for people who are looking for jobs, Lord. I pray that you would open the doors that they need, God. As these awesome men and women just serve you, Lord, I just pray that you would bless them as they just work for you and worship you, Lord. I pray that you would just help us to do all of this truly in worship to you, God, just out of the overflow of the love that you have for us, that we just want to show these kids and these families the awesome love that you have, Lord. I just thank you for them. I just pray that you would be with us, Lord. I pray that you would just pour out fresh anointing on the leaders here, Lord, that you would just give them the words to speak to families, Lord, the words to speak to parents who need encouragement, God, the words to speak to kids who maybe don't hear a lot of positive affirmation, God, that you would just help us to see those kids, just point them out to us and help us to just be able to speak into their lives, Lord. I just pray that you would just help Bridge Kids to grow this year, God, that you would help us to help all kids connect to the person, power, and purpose of you, Lord, that as we just worship you, that you would just bring more kids here so that they can just connect with you and just be changed forever by your love. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thanks, you guys.